Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm a stonemason. From building stones to carving stones, I've made many lasting impressions with the thousands of stones I've laid and built.
Do that. I'm crying right now thinking about it. I'm a fucking grown-ass man. Just the fact that, like, I'll go to my grave remembering that. That's the kind of thing that money can't pay for. Just to carve a gravestone for a young man who passed away in America. My next meal coming from. Yeah. And she had lost a daughter at 30 years old to cancer. I helped this lady carve her daughter's name in stone. At a young age, my father took off and I didn't know what to do. My mom's husband was very abusive, and I came from basically a situation that was very toxic. And I really would say the trade saved me, because my only other choice was a life of crime, which I was surrounded by. Moved to Toronto and became an apprentice. It's not an easy life, but as a stonemason, but you learn that there's benefits to hard work, and that through hard work, good things can happen. Able to travel through stonemasonry, meet people all around the world that are like brothers to me. We've created an atmosphere of growth through the trade and try to bring other people in. Stonemasonry sort of just landed on my feet, landed on my table. It was sort of a fluke situation, which was odd because it's turned out to be like a real love of my life. I'm the kind of guy that'll watch a movie, and when I see a stone wall behind the movie, I'm more captivated in that than what's going on the screen. I can go down streets and show my children houses I built that'll stand for longer than I'll be ever alive. And there's something to that. We're all looking for sort of a reason that we're here, and I think that through the craft of stonemasonry, I've been able to create a body of work that'll live on past my days, and that that's something tangible that gives me a meaning to life. And, you know, monetary funds come and go, but, you know, the work you do sticks here forever, you know, and the bonds you make. The thing is that when you work really hard with people, it's like going to war with them, and you create bonds that are unimaginable, that are beyond bloodlines. Like, you know, you would do anything for these people. And you know, and just the same way, there's plenty of people who don't make it, you know, and especially in today's day and age with the way society is, I think that, you know, it's a rare breed for sure. That people are getting into it, but it's well worth it. And if you want to be an outlier, really find something difficult and do that, because if there's less people doing it, then you have more opportunity to become something great. If you put everything you have into it, then, you know, you can create that. And it's something like stonemasonry that's been around for thousands of years. You're never going to have known everything about it. It's a learning experience from day one till the day you die. And that's sort of the beauty of it, I believe. And, you know, I'm almost 30 years into this, and I'm still learning little nuances every day. Was it successful right away? I would say there's times where it was successful and times it wasn't successful. I mean, this entrepreneurship's a battle, you know, as well as being a stonemason. The fact is that it's up and down constantly, just like the world, just like the stock market, you know. The other factor of what I do is you're very relegated to the weather. The weather is a factor, so you're always worrying about winter. So it's difficult in that aspect. I've been able to find myself a niche through stone carving, monuments, and gravestones to fireplaces, finding ways to get inside in the winter. The thing about the business is it's definitely a roller coaster ride, but you know, we're all hoping to strike it rich like a gold miner, you know. And the thing about it is, man, is that you kind of just got to keep your highs medium and your lows medium, you know. Like I'm constantly striving for more and better, you know. And the thing is, though, I think that you find a passion in what you do. You can find, if you love what you do, and this is a cliche, but do it for the passion of the craft, then the money will come. you know? And I feel like really good work, the best of the best aren't about the money. They're about, you know, building their body of work and doing their best on a daily basis. And what does that mean? Does that mean producing? Yes, it does mean you need to produce, but it means also making a product that you're proud of at the end of the day. Because like we were saying, you're not buried with your money, but my portfolio will live on for the rest of time, basically.
It's a legacy.
Stone's very timeless that way. I mean, look at the pyramids. I'm not saying I'm building pyramids at this point, but I'm going to leave things. You know, I have stone carvings on the other side of the ocean. I have stone carvings on this side of the ocean. I have houses I've built, monuments. So that's the kind of thing that at the end of the day, are they going to be like he was a rich man? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. But, you know, am I rich in the fact that I've lived a fulfilling life? Yes. That's the kind of bottom line, you know, and that's all I can really say. I just, my thing is that gets me up every day. In such a hard job, you need to have something more than money you're striving for, because you'll never be into it. The people who come and are just about like all about how much they're going to make, they generally don't last, because the apprenticeship alone is like boot camp. And especially in my day and age, where you got yelled at, and if you didn't do something right, it wasn't like, oh, sorry about that. It was like, you're a piece of shit, you know. And they're always holding that winter thing over your head. Okay, so as an apprentice, if you suck during the summer, you're sitting on the sidelines in the winter, and that's not what you want. So that's a huge factor. So every day on a nice sunny day, you're thinking about that -20 day in the winter where you're going to be sitting. But the thing is, in order to not sit, you're working in -20. You're working in snowstorms and putting up tarps, setting up scaffold. It's a challenge. So like I said, right there alone, like if you're just about the money, pretty tough to make it through that shit, you know?
How do you not take things personal? Like you just said, oh, you're a piece of shit, right? Like nowadays, everyone takes things personal. The young kids.
Exactly.
Like, how do you...
Psychology is a huge part of it, but I try to treat people how I want to be treated. And I believe that my strategy is lead by example. And I try to work the hardest guy on the site, even though I'm the boss, so that cascades down the line. That's my strategy. And treat people with respect. But also I feel like our society has turned into this passive aggressive style where everyone doesn't have the balls to tell people the truth. Well, I'll just tell you the truth, but with respect and dignity. You know, if you're sucking, I'm going to let you know. If you're doing good, I'm going to let you know too. I'm just trying to be an honest person. And I think that's also being lost. And I think that in my business, there's a bunch of apprenticeships that need to happen. One in managing people, obviously one in my craft, and one in business, you know, dealing with clients, dealing with all that stuff that is beyond the trowel, is the real challenge for someone that's an artist like me. And that I really have loved the stone and the art of it. I don't love the business. I'm not in love with crunching numbers. I'm in love with putting stones in the wall. I'm in love with carving stone. I'm in love with the final product, the dopamine that you get from a great day of work when you threw up a lot of stone and it looks great. The client loves it. I mean, that's the thing about my work and a lot of the finish trades, is that you see the final product, and making people happy is part of the whole thing that really drives me. You know, when you make a promise to someone, you follow through, and they're like, wow, that's more than I expected, then that's the real deal Holyfield right there. Because I've built houses for myself and stuff like that, and I know that it's a rarity to have trades supersede your expectations. And when I can do that, I know that I've done something right, you know, because there's certain aspects of the human condition that you can't fabricate. And when someone's super excited and you've done a fireplace that blows their mind, then that's monetary, that's riches for me that money can't bring, you know? Having a full bank account doesn't give you the same vibe as just a family that calls you at Christmas and tells you they love their fireplace so much. I had a client, a beautiful client that I'd done a lot of work for, and they were sitting in front of my fireplace and they said, Jesse, we love this so much. We want you to appreciate it like we have, and we're going to give you our cottage for Labor Day weekend so you can enjoy it. 40-degree weather, you better believe I had that fireplace blazing the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, and because normally I do the jobs and I walk away before the mortar's even dry, and I never get to go back. Yeah. But that was just like in my heart, so telling. That was more than money they could give me. You know, they paid me. They said that they loved the work. But when someone goes out of their way to tell you that like this is, I don't know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I can't remember how many years ago now. And I still get goosebumps thinking about that story and that family that were so kind to give us their cottage. Yeah, you know, and that, people don't have to do that. The other thing is, how much do they trust me? Yeah. They're giving me their cottage, you know? And we had done $100,000 worth of work together. I mean, the trust had been built, but the fact that they saw something in me that A, they appreciated the work, and B, they gave me their family home like that was unbelievable. And I guess that's the kind of thing that gets you up in the morning, is trying to make people happy like that. And essentially, you know, something like a fireplace that's a focal point of the home, and they put their stockings on at Christmas time, or, you know, they're cheersing when someone graduates college and they're putting a fire on. That's the kind of thing that I'm literally helping that family in a way, you know, make memories. And that's everything to me, beyond the money, you know. So that's essentially my craft, like I said, is more than money. And that's the kind of thing that I'm passionate about, and you know, and the relationships that I've built through the craft, through the people I've worked with, the people I've worked for, you know. And I'm always trying to just, that's the real kicker for me. Not how much I have in the bank, but that's success. You know, I'm blessed to have a really good rating on Google, and, you know, this, whatever that means, but it means something to me because, you know, I've left a lasting impression. Now the client wants 1,000 things from me. Yeah. I want one, pay me, you know, but at the end of the day, it also means a lot when they like me. Yeah. You know, they don't have to, but, you know, that's a factor that keeps me busy, because it cascades. I did one street in Toronto where, you know, by the end of my tenure in that area, I'd done 8 houses. And it's just one mom telling the next mom, you can trust this guy, he's good, you know. And that built my product. And also just, you know, what's better, that's the best advertising, is word of mouth. You know, you could have all the shirts and hats and advertising in many different facets, but the best is people to people, right? And that's kept me going.
Is it only you, or do you have a crew?
I do have a crew, intermittent here and there. Sometimes I'm by myself, sometimes I have a crew. The crew is interchanged over the years many times. People move on. Like I said, it's a very difficult craft, and a lot of people don't have the tenacity to hold on. For me, because a lot of people are driven by money in this society, you know. I also believe that today's world, a lot of people leave their trade on the job site. And to really be a master, you have to be engulfed in that trade 24 hours a day. Like I was telling you about the movies. I'm watching a movie, I see a stone wall, I'm more interested in that than Julia Roberts. And my life is engulfed in that. I have stonemasonry tattoos all over me. Look at this. This is my favorite chisel. This is my favorite hammer. A stonemason here. I built this arch at Sunnybrook Hospital. This is an MC Escher that me and my tattoo artist manipulated and turned into a stonemasonry tattoo where each hand is carving the next.
Oh wow! Oh wow! That's crazy.
So to spend that many hours in a tattoo chair, man, you got to be passionate about it. It's everything to me. I mean, I have my family's name on this side of my arm and my craft on this side.
I love
my
it.
favorite hammer, you know, my favorite chisel.
Yeah.
One of my favorite projects.
Wow. Wow.
So
We want to speak about that project, but before that,
Yeah.
I shot with 55 people as of today in 6-7 months. I never met someone this passionate about their trade. He's very close to the carpenter I first shot with, but not to this extent. This is amazing.
like I go like my vacations are like I go to Ireland as often as I can because I've got some really great relationships over there. My friends run stone masonry symposiums, and I go and I help teach people how to carve stone. And I'm so my friend groups are all based around the craft. I have some of my best relationships are people that I've met through the chisels and the dust, you know.
I'm curious to see, like, how does this impact your work-life balance? A lot of people, when I post my videos on social media, they judge the tradesmen that are obsessed with their craft, like that carpenter. Not to your extent, obviously. You're really hardworking. You're really obsessed more than that person. But that person was, you know, people were saying, hey, like, life has more than just work. I was explaining to them that's their passion, but not a lot of people have that passion, like you were saying earlier.
That's a dying art, and that's why if you see really exponential craftsmen are being lost.
Yeah.
It's because there's so many distractions in today's day and age, and people are more concerned about what they're driving. At the end of the day, you'll meet someone and they'll tell you about their possessions instead of what they do, what it engulfs their life. Now, I have many passions. My family's a passion. I have sporting passions. I love to train. I have all kinds of different things, but I'm like the kind of person that's either 100% or nothing. I'm all in or I'm not in it at all. And, you know, thankfully, stone masonry and stone carving has engulfed my life. Where, it's a
12-hour days.
It's a work-life balance is a thing, but I mean, you need to eat all day, right? You never stop thinking about that.
Yeah.
Right? Where's my next meal coming from?
Yeah.
And that's the same way I am about stonemasonry. It's never out of my mind. Same way you'll find out that your family is always in your mind.
Yeah.
When you are in love with something, it's always on your mind. And I have a work-life balance, but I'd never call myself a master, and I don't think that. I think when you do, then you stop learning. But if you want to strive to be a master, it has to be an engulfed thing. My craft is thousands of years old. I'll never know everything, but I am curious and want to know everything I can, you know? What does a hockey player do? He shoots pucks, right? So I'll go home and chisel. I'll go, like, you know, I have 3 kids, so the balance can get out of whack a little bit trying to raise little people, right?
Yeah.
But the same way, like, it's a constant in my life. I have a chat group with all my stonemason buddies from around the world. We're constantly talking. I mean, what did you do today? How'd it go? What, you know, and then we're talking about rugby or we're talking about beer, but it's all brought on because we all love the craft, you know, and some of my best memories are spending time with these folks, you know, and when I link up with other people that I've worked with over the years, like I said, it's like we went to war together. We just pick up where we left off and remember that job, and, you know, just thinking about it, it gives me a dopamine high, you know, so why wouldn't I be passionate about it when it gives me so much back? And also in today's day and age, you got to make money now. It's a dying art. Mm-hmm. So there is good money in it. And, you know, what I would say to people looking into a craft like this, find something hard. Don't find something easy. Because if you want to be an outlier, it's much easier to be an outlier in something difficult. And there was a decade where I thought I'd never get this trade. Breaking stones, okay? Now, most guys use saws for work like this. Mm-hmm. I use a hammer and chisel. I'm quicker with a hammer and chisel than a guy on a saw. With five hits, I could split a stone, and you'd be like amazed. And I'm not just saying that as an egotist, but that took me decades breaking stones to get to there. But I put in the time because I had mentors that believed in me, that I saw they look at what they're doing. It's like watching a Connor McDavid stick handle a puck, and you're a young 10-year-old, and you're like, is that the same sport? And that's the way I looked at it. I couldn't believe it. But I was blessed to have some of the best mentors in the world. And I saw where the bar was. And I put in the time, possibly because of necessity, because when I was a kid, we lost our house. I saw poverty, I drove around a car that was painted with a roller, like a house roller. And, I wore balaclava with the family car as I drove around. I was so embarrassed. Like I said, we lost our home. I didn't want that. I don't want that. And I'll work every day of the week to try to negate that.
Make sure your family doesn't.
And that's the shit that keeps you going.
Yeah.
You gotta have a work-life balance, but when it's time to go, you gotta fucking go.
Yeah.
And there ain't no time to worry about work-life balance. So that's the kind of shit that gets me up in the morning. And early mornings, late days, Saturdays. When you have a business, it's like having another kid. It'll get you up at night. It'll cry. It'll whine. And you just got to fucking do it because that's your kid. And that's what stonemasonry and being an entrepreneur is like to me. 100%.
That's a great way to summarize that.
Yeah.
I have a question about your kids. Do you expect them to follow your path in the craft, or do you put that expectation on them, or not really?
No, all you can do is hope that they would find your passion. But I think that putting expectations on people is unreasonable and probably a bad thing to do, because you're probably going to drive them away. Have I been saying since they could speak words that they're going to be a stonemason? Yeah.
Yeah.
But my goal would be that at least they could pick it up a bit and they could do it for themselves. I think that if you don't find that as a craft, but you do find it as a passion, then it could still be something that lights your life. When I go to these stone symposiums, generally we're teaching people off the street, okay? And they find a spark in the stone. There's something about doing something that seems untangible that you do, and that opens your eyes to how you can do anything in life. If you can carve a stone and you thought that was impossible, well, what else is possible in your life? I for a lot of years, I was introduced to these stone festivals, and I thought, why am I going to go teach people off the street my craft that I've spent all this time? And then I went over to Ireland, and I taught some people, and there was one lady in particular that was metaphorical for me that really hit home. And she had lost a daughter at 30 years old to cancer, and she had her signature, which she superimposed large. And over a 3-day period, I helped this lady carve her daughter's name in stone, her literal signature, okay? And by the end of the time, we both cried. It was cathartic for both of us. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, I couldn't get that kind of vibe, what money could I pay to do that? I'm crying right now thinking about it. I'm a fucking grown-ass man. That's the kind of thing that this does to you, and like when you give, like, I didn't get paid for that. Like, I got paid a gratuity and they helped my airfare over there, but just the fact that, like, I'll go to my grave remembering that. That's the kind of thing that money can't pay for.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm amazed by this story. I can do this for 10 hours straight. So much wisdom, so much experience, so much knowledge, so much hardship, and then it turned into a success story. Obviously, we're here today. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self, or someone watching us, or a lot of people are going to listen to this, we're going to show the work, obviously, I'm working, which is, people love seeing that, so
Yeah, I love that, I'd say the bottom line, man, is like consistency, and just don't let it get you down. Tomorrow could be better, and you know, whatever it takes, you gotta stick with it. And there's more to life than money. And, you know, it seems hard and maybe the foreman's yelling at you and all that, but it could be so much more and it could build your life, you know. The things you could do for yourself. I've carved so many stones that I just keep because by the end of it, I've spent hundreds of hours on it. It's part of the family now, you know. And the same way, man. 2 years ago, I was blessed to ask to carve a gravestone for a young man who passed away in America, and you know, I felt this guy's presence in my workshop, and whatever you say about that, you believe it or not. I'm not necessarily a wishy-washy guy about spiritual stuff, but this kid and his story brought out the best in me. And I pulled together one of the best pieces I've ever done. And it was a real blessing. And, you know, it's just amazing. Again, I started off breaking stones every time to the point where I'm carving very delicate stone into pieces that memorize someone's life. And that has gravity. You know, this family here I'm building this home for, they're gonna look at this and remember, you know, how hard it was. They watch me build it, you know, and they're builders too. They're an amazing family as well. But there's something to that. That again, today's society is all about money. But if you really dig into whatever trade you're doing, you will find a passion that's beyond money. And we're all looking for a reason why we're here. And, you know, I don't think God or whoever's up there invented money. Humans did. You know, so there's something more we're supposed to be here than money. And, you know, I'm not only working for me, I work for my family. And I'm showing them, whether they get into stonemasonry, whatever they get into, that hard work can pay off, and that, you know, there's more to this whole life than just buying shit off Amazon and having that UPS truck come up the driveway, you know. Now we all have to live in this society, and we need money, and unfortunately, it's an evil of how we have to survive here. But if you can find more, I tell the young people trying to get into something, find something that you love. And it's a cliche again, but you'll never work a day in your life. Now, that's not true when it's a 40-degree day and you're busting rocks and it sucks. But you know what? The other thing is, when you work for yourself, you go hard when you can. And the beauty of it is, if I want to go home, I go fucking home, you know? Yeah. And if I want to stay hard, I stay hard, you know? And that's all the things that you can build. Right now, that foreman's yelling at you, but one day you'll be your own man. And you'll be able to go farther in life and have a passion. It really pays off.
A lot of wisdom, a lot of advice. I'm sure a lot of people watching, especially the kids who watch us, will learn a lot. I want to end with this. What's the most memorable project or story from a client that you had, your top one that you will never forget, and why?
Oh, well, there's been a lot. I mentioned a few already.
Yeah.
The client that gave me their fireplace for Labor Day, that was brilliant. And, you know, carving, some of the carvings I've done, some of the work I've done overseas in Ireland, and has been very memorable to me. But yeah, I honestly, the most recent was carving the gravestone that I did that went to California, that you know, that I really felt the essence of this young fella in my shop while I was carving it. And it literally, whether that's true or not, whatever I felt brought out the best in me. And every time I would go into the shop, I'd say hello to him.
Oh,
And, you know, if there is something after life, why wouldn't you be watching the guy carving the last tangible thing you're leaving on the planet? So that's the kind of shit that was definitely like extremely memorable.
How did it happen? You were in Hollywood and he's all the way in
They
California.
found me online. The young man knew he was gonna pass, and him and his mom went to graveyards and found what he wanted his to look like. I literally carved the kid's. He was a hockey player.
Oh, wow.
I carved his number into a sword. You'll have to see this
I have
piece.
to see this piece.
I carved. He also had angel's wings on his hockey helmet, which I carved into the piece. Yeah, I mean, it felt beyond me. It literally was steps ahead anything I'd ever done, and I really attribute that to the energy I felt in my shop during that time.
And you shipped it all the way to Cal?
Yeah. I made a crate like it was glass inside, and we shipped it all the way to California, where it sits today.
I want to see it. That's,
It was one of my best pieces for sure, and I try not to be an egotist and talk about myself. I let other people do that. My work speak for itself, but literally, yeah, it was amazing. It was like a co-production with the person who passed away, which, yeah, like I said, I'm not religious or anything like that, but like this felt like this kid was in my shop, and it was amazing.
And that was the first time you do graveyards?
I have done memorial pieces for people, and I also did a bench that sits at Mount Pleasant in Davisville in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
That the lady was a school teacher at the school. It sits in front of a school, and she taught a gardening class. So I carved all this garden like leaf work into it, and to this day people sit on that and memorialize her, and it all came from my hands. You know, just the other day I was at a party at a person who said she lives by there, and I said, oh, by the way, I carved that stone. She looked at me like I was crazy. I said, yeah. She goes, I walk by that every day and I'm amazed by it. And she couldn't believe that I had done it. And that's the kind of shit, man, that like money can't buy. You know, and that gives me the drive, yeah, to get going every day and just try to do more. And yeah, again, what is life about?
Hi, we're the Bagelmans. We're a stone masonry family.